and some. So today's topic of discussion is constructor. Very important topic. So constructor is a VIP method. What is constructor? It is a VIP method. Okay. So in a class we have your normal methods and we have some VIP methods. Okay. So what is the difference between a normal car and a VIP car? Yes, anyone? Can anyone tell me? What extra privileges is enjoyed by the VIP car? Let's say this is the car of a normal civilian, okay, and this is the car of the President of India. Now, when will these car when they go on the road, will they enjoy the same privilege, or will the VIP car enjoy some extra privileges over the normal civilian's car? So, what are the extra privileges which it will? What is the extra privileges? They, okay, there will be security. There will be bulletproof windshields. Okay, so then all the windshields will be bulletproof. It will have a siren, red siren on top. Okay, if they will, it will not halt at any traffic signal. It will pass, uninterrupted through the city. And next, and if the president needs to board a flight, he can access the runway. He can take his car directly to the runway, right? Then directly from he can get down from the car and board the flight. Next, it has what do you say? For security, we have given bulletproof red siren, no halting at signal, runway access. We have given okay, blah blah blah. Now there can be many more. Okay, many more. Now, does the normal civilian's car enjoy these privileges? Does a normal civilian room with a security? If someone is wealthy and can afford bouncers, that is different, but normal civilian will no security, no bulletproof windshield, no red siren, will have to halt at the traffic police, no access to runway. We have to park his car in the parking and then put the stuff on the trolley and then go inside the airport, correct? So similarly, if I make a class student, so I have some instance variables like roll number, string, sname, double percentage. These are our instance variables, right? Then I have some function which I can access this. So display student. Okay, so it will display me the roll number, name, and percentage. Okay, so now this display student is a normal function. So I will call it a normal method. Okay, then we also have constructors, which we call as a VIP method. So constructor is a VIP method. Now, and your display student is a normal method. Now, constructor, it is a method, so it will be a function in the class, but it has some extra privileges. First privilege which the constructor enjoys extra over normal method is its name is same as the class. Its name is same as the class name. So what will be the name of the constructor of this class? The class which I have made over here. What will be the name of the constructor? Student. So we'll write a function by the name student. Okay. Okay. Second, now is this display student returning any value? No. So what do we have to prefix to a function which does not return any value? Void. Constructors do not return any value. Constructor does not return any value. So as per this law, what should a constructor prefix? It should prefix, it should, I am asking as per this law. If a function does not return anything, what should it prefix? Void. So, so constructor does not return anything. So ideally it should have returned void, but it does not prefix void. So this is an extra privilege given to the constructor that do not return anything and you can still be void. Okay. Second, now I've written this method. If I don't call this method, will it be executed? So normal methods have to be invoked explicitly. Constructor is invoked implicitly. When is it invoked implicitly? When object is created using new keyword. Using new keyword, when you create the object, what will it call? The constructor will be invoked implicitly. Okay, you don't have to explicitly invoke a constructor, it will be invoked implicitly whenever an object is created with the new keyword. This is an extra privilege given only to the constructor. Okay, Java provides four constructors. How many constructors? Four types of constructors. You can say four types of constructors. Okay, so this is a extra thing given to the constructor. There are four types of constructors. Okay, and it's 99% times public. Okay, so there is some chances that a constructor can be private also. 1% chances of having a private constructor. This we will do when we will do advanced Java as to what is the logic behind keeping a private constructor. But 99.9% times you will say that it will be construct. Okay, so 0.1% times chances are there that it can be a private. So this is only for the constructor. The rest methods up to you. What you want to make public, private. Okay. Then with regards to static also, okay, constructor enjoys some extra privileges. With regards to use of super, not static, sorry. With regards to use of super also, constructor enjoys an extra privilege. That we will do when we do inheritance. Constructor enjoys extra privileges. So these are things which the constructor enjoys extra. What are they? Its name is same as the class name. Constructor does not return any value, but it does not prefix void. It is invoked implicitly. Java provides four types of constructors. 99.9% types will be public. And with regards to super keyword also, constructor has some extra privileges. Constructor can be overloaded. Constructor can be overloaded. That is, you can have multiple constructors in the same class. We can have multiple constructors in the same class. In the same class, we can have multiple constructors. Okay. Now, what is the usage of a constructor? That is, what is the use of constructor? It is used to initialize the instance variables. What does the constructor do? It is used to initialize the instance variable. Because by default, what does the instance variable value will be there? If it is an integer, it will have 0. If it is a string, it will have, and if it is a double, 0 0.0. Okay. So if you don't want these values to the object, then we can write constructor. Okay. Now, the four types of constructor. The first constructor is default constructor. Which constructor? Default constructor i- is gifted to the developer by Java. So Java has gifted the developer the default constructor. If the developer does not write any constructor, then JVM will use the default constructor, Java's default constructor. So when does the default constructor come into play? When does Java's default constructor come into action? When the programmer has not written any constructor. So this is today the 21st session. Have we written any constructor till now in the last 20 days? So when the programmer does not write any constructor, when the programmer does not write any constructor, then which constructor was being used all this while? Default constructor. It is if yes, it is gifted by the developer. Okay, it is gifted to the developer by Java. If the developer does not write any constructor, then JVM will use the Java's default constructor. And what does this default constructor do? Default constructor does this. Wherever it finds a integer instance variable, it will initialize it with yes. So this was done by wherever it will find a object instance variable, initialized by null. And wherever it will find a double instance variable, it will initialize it with 0 point. Wherever it will find a boolean instance variable, so all this is done by whom? Okay, it will now which JVM does it, but who? What does the JVM use to do it? Okay, Java's. default constructor. So this is the first constructor. So if I don't write any constructor, then the Java's default constructor will use and it will initialize all the default values. Okay. Okay. Then now I don't want Java to give its default values. I want to give my uniform values. Uniform values mean all the objects will have same value, right? Now if now developer or programmer wants to initialize all the objects with same uniform values. Okay. So now I don't want to use zero, null, and that. I want every roll number to be one, every S name to be, let's say, unknown, and every percentage should be 40.0. As I create the object, it should have this default value. So if I create three objects, all the three will have what default values? Okay. Yeah, because this might lead to null pointer exception. So if I use the Java's default constructor and then if I try to see the length of that name, it will throw me a null pointer exception because there is no name. Name is null. But here it will not throw me null pointer exception. So exception will reduce. And all the objects will have what? They'll have what? Uniform value, right? So if you are in school and there are 60 students in your class, they all wear the same dress. What do we call that dress as? Uniform. So now if I make 10 objects or 3 objects, will those objects have the default values from the default constructor or the uniform values which I give? That is called the that is called as the no args constructor. Second constructor is called what? So what does a no arg constructor do? Now it will override the default constructor. Now my objects will not have default values. They will have the uniform values which I prefer. Okay, let's do it practically. Then maybe you will understand better. So where is your application? You all are over here, right? ET. So what day is it today? Today is what, day 14. So let's try to make a package. Day 14 constructor. And let's make a new class. Okay, student. And now I will give the instance variables private integer roll number, private string sname, private double percentage. Okay, and to display that, what will we write? Public void display person. And now I can display all this detail in my format, right? I can display this detail in my format. So I can say student roll number. So I can write roll number as NU, or I can write roll number as NUMBER. So I can, and then how will I this roll number is an instance, local or a static variable. So how will you access that? this dot roll. Okay, this dot roll. Same over here. So here I'm writing my display function and I can give whatever I want in the format. I can give my own format, right? Okay. Now, is there any constructor over here? Is there any constructor? So if I say default constructor demo, and now if I go over here and make three objects of the student class using new keyword, right? Using when the constructor called when we use the new key. So now how many objects have I made? What so each will have its roll number, name, percentage. Yes or no? So what is the roll number, name, percentage for each of them? And have I written any constructor in the class? Is there any method with the same name as that of the class? Have I written any method like this? No, right? So I have not written any constructor. So when the programmer has not written any constructor, which constructor is used? Default. And what does the Java's default constructor do then? Initialize the values with what are the default values for integer, string, and double? So if I now want to display the detail, I will say s1 s3 dot display, correct? So what will be the output? We'll call the display student function. So I will have this student roll number is 0, student name is null, student percentage is 0 0.0. Three times it will display me, correct? So three times it will display me this, correct? So these values have been initialized on which constructor? Now the default constructor is prone to the limitation. I will not say disadvantage. I will say limitation of using default constructor is it throws null pointer exception. Which exception? Null pointer exception. So if I want to display the length of the name, what is the length of the name? So if I come here, I want to say how many character is the name, and if I do s1 dot, now it will not give me. Can I access name over here directly? Yes or no? Can I display access s name over here? We have not given that, so let's go and give that also, because if you want to access private data outside, you can do that using getter setters. So source generate setter getters, select all and generate. So now if I come over here and I say s1 dot get s name, what will this give me? This will give me null. And if I call any method with a null, if I call any method with a null, will give a null pointer exception. So if I do dot length, now this will throw me null pointer exception. What has it thrown? And the program will crash. So exception at whatever line exception occurs, program crashes at that line, and the program will not move ahead. So at what line did the exception occur? So will it execute line number 15? Will it execute line number 15? No, because the rule of exception is If the exception has occurred and it has not been caught, the program will crash land and will terminate immediately. So if I run this code, see it is crash landing and it is not going ahead and it is not displaying me high. So this is the limitation of using the default constructor. So what we will do is we will write our own what? No args constructor. So constructor always prefixed with public, right? Constructor. Yes, no, maybe. Yeah. So if the interviewer asks, can the constructor be made private? What will you say? It can be made private. Okay. Depending on the business logic, we can make it private, but generally it is most of the time it is made public. Now this is which constructor? This is which constructor? Noah's constructor. This is. And now I can initialize the instance variable. So it is used to initialize the instance variable, right? So this dot roll number I will give what? 1. This dot name I will give what? Unknown. And this dot percentage I will give this passing. You should have at least passing percentage to enroll 40. Correct? Now once I write my constructor, the default constructor is now, so once the sun rises, the moon is overshadowed, correct? There is, so like this. So once I light a lamp, the darkness vanishes, correct? So it's like this. Once I write my own Noah's constructor, then the default constructor evaporates. Now the default constructor will not be used if I have written my own Noah's constructor. Okay. So now if I come over here, the file name, I should be changing the file name, right? So now when I write this, it will initialize roll number name with percentage, but with which values? But with which values? The value which I have mentioned in the, and it will not see. I the value which I gave, and say it gave the size of unknown is 7, and the program did not crash, and it continued executing. It displayed with high also. Getting? So the at the time when the object is created, what default value should be there for the instance variable? That is the job of the constructor. Am I understood? Everyone. Now how many objects have I made over here? Three. So all are having the three uniform values, correct? But now I want one object which should have its exclusive value. Okay, this object wants its own exclusive value. Okay, so maybe I should make a new class so that we have various codes. So that I will call as a all args constructor. Okay, so now I will come over here. These three will access which constructor now? This object will be made using which constructor? No args constructor. And S2 will be made using which constructor? S3 will be made using which constructor? No args constructor. Now I want so if you go to buy a car, okay, if you go to buy a car and you want to choose a color, so the salesperson will show you a catalog in which there will be 5 to 6 colors. So those are the standard colors in which the manufacturer has launched this car in. Okay, so if you do not get that color in that catalog and you say I want a customized color, I want the car to be colored in the form of a what do you say, chessboard. Okay, so I want my car to have black and white squares. So I want it colored in chessboard. So he will tell you, sir, if you will pay us this much extra, we will customize this car color and will deliver it to you. But this is the standard colors which we have. If you buy from here, we will give you delivery within few days also, and the cost also will be less. But if you want a customized color, then the cost also will increase and the time also will increase. So here now one student says that I don't want this uniform values. I want my exclusive customized values. So he says I want roll number as 18. So when I will make S4, it says I want roll number as 18. I want this name and I want this percentage. Now this object, is there any constructor which is initializing these values right now? So then you have to go in the class and create a constructor which takes argument in this signature. The first argument will be of what type? Second type, second argument, and third argument. So we can write our own constructor also with if you want to have exclusive values. So we'll go in the class, copy this constructor, and then write a constructor which will take first argument as integer, second argument as string, and third argument as double. Then this A will go in the roll number, the B will go in the, and C will go in the percentage. So now how many instance variables do I have? And is this constructor initializing all the instance variables with with exclusive values? कौन no बोला? What was my question? Is the constructor initializing all the three instance variables? So listen to the question clearly first. Don't be in a hurry to answer. Is this constructor initializing all the instance variables? Yes, no, maybe. So that is called as all args constructor. That is called as what? See, if I have a constructor like this, I can have multiple constructors in the class. If I have this constructor, let's say. Now, is this constructor initializing all the instance variables or a subset of the instance variables? There, there are how many instance variables? Three. Is this constructor initializing all the three? Yes, no, maybe. No. So you will not call it as all args. You will not call it as all args constructor. This is just a normal parameterized constructor. All args constructor is that constructor which will initialize all the instance variables of that class. Am I understood? Okay. Now when I am creating the object S4, it is using which constructor? It is using which constructor to create these objects? It is using the all args constructor. Am I understood? So now if I go and sys out S4 now, will it have uniform value or will it have its customized exclusive value? So when I run this, see this, okay, I should have called the S4 dot, right? Display person. Got it? 18, we all are having uniform. So it is the birthday of this student. All have come in uniform, and this person has come in civil dress. So you can use the all args constructor also. Am I understood? Okay. Now there is one more type of constructor which is used to clone. Okay, what is a clone? Yes, copy. Clone, right? Clone means copy. Clone means. So where do we use clone in real time? Where have you heard this word clone? So if there is a perfume brand, okay, there are many perfume brands. This is very good, Dior. And if this perfume brand launches a flavor, okay, if y'all can get hold of this flavor, try to get, okay. So if this perfume company launches this perfume flavor, which is costing let's say 9,000 rupees for how much 50 ml bottle. Now, if you cannot afford this, someone cannot afford this. So what they do is they make a clone of this, right? So that will be just like this, same. But now the 50 ml will come for 900 rupees, 90% less. So what have they done over here? They have made a clone. Yeah, copy, exact replica. What they have done, exact replica they have made. That is called as copy. Okay. So in the topic, in the chapter of copy of objects, okay, we have two copies. Remember this: shallow copy and deep copy. How many copies do we have? Two types of copies: shallow copy and deep. Okay. So I'll explain what is shallow copy. So I really liked the example which Umar had given for object and reference. So this is the TV. This is the object, right? So a television set, let's say this is a 32-inch TV. 32-inch TV, even if you take of normal brand, should come for 9999. How much is this coming for rupees? 999. And in that house, there is one brother and one sister. Okay. So brother and sister are there. Both are, so this brother is, let's say, 6 years. So the sister is 4 years. Okay. So they are very mature people with a very high sense of intellect. Yes or no? Or they are not so mature. So they will be fighting with each other for small reasons. And how many remote is there for this TV? Only one. So the brother is fighting for the remote. He wants to watch his channels. The sister is fighting for the remote. She wants to watch her channels. How much does the remote cost? 100 rupees? Yes, no, maybe. Okay. Original report. Original remote might cost let's say 300 rupees. So they are fighting for the remote. So the brother he goes out. Okay, I have seen this in my house. My daughter, when she goes down cycling, she takes the remote with her and goes. So this son he's gone down playing with his friends in the garden, and he has taken the remote with him in his pocket. So now this sister is searching for the remote and she cannot find the remote and she cannot watch the television. So what the father does, he goes and buys one more remote, and he feels the problem is solved. Is the problem solved over here, or this can still lead to problems later on? So just by investing 300 rupees, the father feels that the problem has been solved. Now they will not quarrel. If the son is using his remote, the daughter will use her remote. But the real problem will start when they both are watching the TV. So if channel number one, the remote son likes channel number one and the girl likes channel number two, the son will press one, will switch to channel number one. All of a sudden, the channel will switch to two, and again they will fight. Yes or no? So now these two remotes are accessing one television, right? So if any remote changes the channel will reflect on the television, correct? So this is called as shallow copy. So the father just made a shallow copy. Okay. So let me show you all over here. Example of shallow copy. So let's say this is the TV. So the object is the TV. So this is the object, new student. And this is the reference. This is the remote. So now who is pointing to student? So now you can visualize, and this will use which constructor to create that? It will use which constructor to create the object? This S1 object will be used created using which constructor? Any guesses? This S1 object is using which constructor to create the object student? It is using Noah's constructor. This one, right? So what will be the value for roll number, name, and percentage? Yes, tell me. One unknown and 40.0, correct? So roll number one, S name, unknown, and percentage 40.0, correct? At what address the object got memory at? 1000, and who is the reference pointing to it? S. Okay. So this you can think of as the TV, which is the actual object, and this reference you can think of as the remote, right? This analogy we had discussed. Okay. Now to make a shallow copy, we just need a reference, correct? So what the father does now, he gets a new reference which is pointing to the same object. So where is S2 pointing to? Same where S1 was pointing. So where is S1 pointing? Here. So S2 also is pointing to 1000, and S2 also is a new remote now. Now if S2 changes the S name, will it change for S1 also? Yes, right? So if S2 comes over here and says set S name, because you cannot access directly his private data. So from unknown, it sends it to Tom. So this, so now if S1, if I say S1 dot get name, what will it show first? Also unknown. Unknown. Then who has changed the name? S2. But it will also change for S1. So now what will S1 see after the changing? Tom. So even though it was changed by S2, it will still reflect the same for S1. Yes or no? So even though the sister changed the channel to 2, but it will still reflect for the brother. Now brother also has to watch channel 2. So here only a shallow copy is made. So S2 is a shallow copy. This is which copy? This is not a deep copy. So in shallow copy we just have two references pointing to the same object. What happens in shallow copy? You can multiple. You can say multiple references. Not okay. So you can say two or multiple references pointing to the same object. If any one reference changes the values, if any one reference changes it will reflect on for all the other references also. Okay. So if you go to the railway station, you see lots of what do you say LED boards over there, right? For the train arrival, time, departure. Yes or no? So the operator who is operating it from his computer, he will just change that the train is delayed by 20 minutes. So where is he making the changes at? One location, right? And if across all the 6 to 8 platforms there are 100 LCDs, all the values will change across all the LCDs that train is 20 minutes late. So like this, you can say all those 20 TVs are just mere references to that original database. Yes or no? So this is which copy of the object. So if I just add a new reference pointing to the existing object, it is called as shallow copy. Now when he sees that they are still fighting, so what he does is now he buys a new TV for both of them. So you take your remote and you watch your channels. You take your remote and you watch your channel. Now if the brother changes the channel to 2, will it reflect on the sister's television? No, right? So this is called as deep copy. This is called as what? So we use the copy constructor. There are many ways of making deep copy. One of the ways is you can use which constructor? Constructor. Then there is one more way using the clone method. Which method? This we will do later on. So someone can park it. When I will teach topic of interface, then you can remind me. Sir, we had discussed one more way of making deep copy clone method. I had noted this down. So I call that as the parking lot. So put it in your parking lot, like how cars come into a shopping mall, they park the car. Once the shopping is done, they remove the car and then they go home. So you can park this question in your parking lot, clone method. Once we discuss it after interface, you can remove it. Okay, this problem is sorted. So park this question. But today we will discuss one way of making deep copy. This is which way? Using copy constructor. So copy constructor, what we can do is now where is all arcs constructor? Let me copy that and paste it so that copy constructor demo. Okay. So I go to copy constructor. Now I have this object. Okay. So this was made using which constructor? This S1 was made using which constructor? So there should be a constructor which has no brackets. Is there any constructor with no brackets? Yes or no? Okay. Then someone's mic is on, is disturbing me. And so, and this object was made using which constructor? All args. So there should be a constructor which takes argument as integer, string, and double. Is it there? It's there. Okay. Let's for the better understanding. If I create a object like this, now who can tell me what should be there behind the scenes? Tell me what should be there behind the scenes. What is the signature of this constructor? What is the signature of this constructor? So is there any constructor with this signature of this? Is there? Is it there in the class? Any constructor which is there of string in double? Not there. That's why it is showing an error. So we'll have to write a constructor of that signature. So you can write as many constructors as you want. But if you have one constructor for all args, it is sufficient. Just I'm showing for the example sake, I'm showing you all. So what we'll have to do, write a constructor which takes what? String. Now that error is sorted. Now that error is sorted. Now it error will not display. Okay, gone. Okay. So now if I say S5, will display me the details of S5. Rohit last. Okay, Rohit is. Now I want to make a copy of Virat. I want to make an object which is copy of Virat. So I say I want to make a new student. It is a copy of which object? S4. So S4. So now there should be a constructor which takes argument of which type? S4 is of what type? So there should be a constructor which takes argument of which type? Student type. So I will come over here and copy this. Okay. And make a constructor which will take argument of student type. So whatever name you want to give, you can give to the object. Student. Okay. Give any name. Stud. Now this S4 is going where? In this student, correct? And then if I say that student dot roll number goes to roll number and student dot s name goes to s name and student dot percentage goes to percentage. Now I have made a clone of this, a deep copy I have made, okay, not a shallow copy. Now if I go and change S4, will it impact S6? Copy constructor is used to make a deep copy, right? So this is S4. This is what? What is S4? 18, Virat, and 78.5. And who is pointing to it? Reference is S4. S4. And then this is a copy of it. And who is pointing to it now? S6. So if S6 goes and changes the name, will it impact on S4? Because copy constructor will make a deep copy, right? So if I come over here now, if I come over here, okay, so I'll remove all this, okay? I'll remove all this which is not required so that your focus is on the constructor. So I made this. Now your load is all args constructor. Displayed the details. I made this, this is not required. Okay, I just showed you all that you all can have many constructors. Now when I say this, so if I come over here and sys out s4 dot get name, what will it display me? What will it display me? Virat, Virat. And now if I come here and using S6, I change the name to Rohit. So whose name has changed? S6 name has changed. This name has changed, right? This has changed to Rohit. Now after changing again I display Virat's name. What will it display me? Virat or Rohit? S4's name. So it will display me Virat. So twice it will display me Virat. So now we have got idea that we have made using a which copy? Deep copy. If I go and display S6 name, what will it display? Yes. After the copy was made, if I display S6 name, it was Rohit. Okay, after the copy was made, immediately after the copy was made, what is the S name? When I made the copy, what did S6 get? What name did S6 get? The same name as S Virat. So it will display Virat. Correct. Then I change it to Rohit. So I change whose name to Rohit? Only S6. Did it impact S4? No. So that will be Virat. And then did S6 name change? Yes. So what would be the output if I comment out this line? What would be the output now? Getting it? So this is called as the copy constructor. Okay. Now how many types of constructors did we study today? Default, no args, all args, and copy constructor. Yes or no? And we also did example of shallow copy and deep copy. Understood both of them? So copy constructor is used to make a deep copy. Make sense? So